Hi, my name is Harrison and I'm a co-founder at Recruitment. This video is for recruiters and small staffing agency owners to help you learn how to scale your business development outside of your immediate network. You might have tried referrals, you might have tried cold calling, maybe you even worked with a lead gen agency, maybe you even tried setting up your own email infrastructure before. The problem is that nothing is ever consistent on its own. This is a system that you can build for under $100 a month, and that will take 10 minutes of your time each day. What it does, it pulls in new, fresh jobs every single day from LinkedIn. In the future, you can add other sources. You will qualify them. It then finds the hiring managers, and then it helps you put those hiring managers into a sequence and into an outbound system like instantly so that you can contact those hiring managers at scale. What this looks like at scale, and as you can see over the past 6 months, is we've generated over 2,000 opportunities for ourselves and for our own agency. And now we're helping other staffing agencies achieve the same thing. So with that said, let's jump straight into it. You might have seen this article. This is the written version of the post. So if anything, if you get stuck at any point, feel free to come look at this. And this has all the steps broken down. And I'm going to be following this and walking you through how to do it. The first thing that we need to do is to find the jobs that you want to hire for, that you want to recruit for on LinkedIn, and get very specific about what those roles look like. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to LinkedIn jobs. You can come and take this URL as an example and paste it into an incognito window. So to show you from the top, we're going to go in Chrome, new incognito window, and paste in that URL. This is going to show you a page that a candidate would look at. And what I need you to do is define the jobs that you want to recruit on. So if you've had a lot of success with software engineering, what you want to do is come into this page, define software engineer or machine learning engineer or senior software engineer, whatever it is, put in the location of the companies that you want to work with. So let's say you want to work with companies in San Francisco, or say you want to work with companies in New York, put that in, and then define the time that the job was posted. This is very important. You want to say that this was posted in the last 24 hours. And the reason for this is because we're going to be listening to this URL every single day. So you're going to be getting fresh jobs every single day. If you set this for the past month, then you're always going to be getting duplicates. So we have the distance, you can set that how you want, but the most important thing is 24 hours. Location, add the location that you want, and you can add as many filters here as you want. You can add salary, you can get as specific as you want. Basically, all we need to do is get this URL and this link to a point where you are confident that these are the kinds of roles that you would want to recruit on and with the kinds of companies that you want to recruit for. Once you've done that, copy this URL, and as you can see in the thing, it'll look like something like this. What we're now going to do is build a very basic system to listen to that job URL every single day and pull in all those jobs for you automatically, so you don't have to go to this page every day and refresh and find out who's hiring. So the next thing you're going to do, this doesn't need to be in an incognito window, is go to appify.com, and this is a tool where you'll get $5 of free credits when you sign up, create a free account. It's very, very simple. And once you've done that, click go to console. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the URL that you got and we're going to put it into what's called an actor. An actor is something that is going to listen to this job URL for you and pull all the information. So you can use this one right here, Curious Coder LinkedIn Job Scraper. Click on that. You'll see a page like this, and then you can say try for free. This is going to take you into your console. And what we are going to see is this page. Now, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a schedule. If you ran it like this is going to run once off, but because we want this to run every single day, we're going to run this on the schedule. So what you're going to do is come into schedules on the left and click that. And you can see that I already have some existing schedules run. We're going to create a new one. So click create new. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set this to run daily. And that's why we set that as 24 hours in the LinkedIn job URL. And you can basically leave all of this as it is. You can click save. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add an actor. So under actors, click add, click actor, and then click Curious Coder. And we're going to do the LinkedIn job scraper. Once you've done that, click continue. And now what we need to do is take that LinkedIn URL that you got from before and paste that in here. So if we go back to our page, going to copy that and we're going to paste that in here. Now notice you can add multiple job URLs. So in the future, if you want to add another one, or if you want to do machine learning engineer or data engineer or QA engineer, whatever you want, you can add in more URLs here. And what we're going to do, keep scrape company details on. We're going to set the number of jobs needed to 100. Again, in the future, if you want to scale this up more, you can even set that to 1,000. Once you've done that, we're then going to set the country to split by. So if you're in the United States, select the United States. If you want to recruit on roles in other countries, you can select that. If you just want to recruit for the whole world, then just leave that blank. And once you've done that, click save. Okay, so now what we've got is the system that's going to listen to this URL every day, and we're doing it daily, and we're listening to the software engineering one. I'm going to click enable and say yes. Okay, and the last thing we can do is just rename this. So we're going to call this LinkedIn listener, and you can save it like that. And now what you'll see if you go back into your schedule is you will have this schedule going every single day. And what this is going to do, it's going to pull the information. So let me show you an example of what this looks like. If we go into the jobs scraper, you can see done this many times. Let's take a look at this one. So what we put into the actor was a CEO in Brooklyn, New York, and you can see the data that we got back. So we got back 116 jobs, and these are at various companies, all different kinds. If we click on this one, let's see what it brings up. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here we can see Chief Operating Officer, and you can see all these various different roles that are exactly the kind that you want to recruit for. Now that we have that, the next thing that we need to do is get all of the information from these jobs so that we can go find the hiring managers. So let's do that next. If you go back into the written post, you will see that everything we just went through is going to get you up to this point, basically, where we now have the runs and we have some data. The screen that you will see when you run it is going to be exactly the same, and you will see all these runs. And now what you can do is basically export this information. So what you do is you go here, you say export, you say CSV, and you say download. That's going to give you a CSV of all the job information that we have. And there's one important piece of information that we need. If you go back into this written example, you'll see here it says import into Google Sheet, and you can see the example. This is going to show you an example of the data set that you'll get so you can follow along. So you can see here we have all the jobs, and we have company name, we have how many people applied, we have where it is, we have the company address, but the really important information that we need is the company website. Now what you can do at this point is you can start doing some qualification. So one of the first things that you want to qualify is which of these companies are also staffing agencies. And one of the ways you can do that is by doing a lookup in the company description and saying if anything says staffing and recruiting or talent partnerships or anything like that, you can obviously take out those roles. Another easy thing to do is to look at the company size and the number of employees and immediately filter out any companies that are too big, too small, and that you just wouldn't really want to work with. Another thing you can also look at is the industry. This also makes it easier. So if you see staffing and recruiting, that's a dead giveaway that you can take out that role. But let's assume for now that you have a qualified list. What we're going to do is take all of the company websites and we're going to use those to help us determine who the hiring managers are. So you can basically come to this column, copy that, and what we're going to do next is use another actor to help us find the hiring managers. So at this point, we're now here, and what we're going to do is use this one called Leads Finder. So if you click on that, you'll see the screen. Again, try for free. This is an amazing actor. You can get 1,000 leads or 1,000 contacts for $1.5. So basically for less than a beer, you can get in contact with some hiring managers. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use those company domains to filter down all the different hiring managers. Let's start with the job title. So in this case, because we were searching for a senior software engineer, the hiring manager titles that we want to go for would be CTO, head of engineering, VP of engineering, SVP engineering, engineering manager, all those kinds of job titles. And so what you can do is in Leads Finder, click bulk edit, and you can type in all of these titles. So let's say VP of Engineering, and let's do one more. We'll say Engineering Manager as an example. Once you've got that, then what you want to do is copy all of these company websites and just go all the way down to the bottom, put them back into Leads Finder, into the website. There it is, company website. And this is really important because this is what gives us the power to find and match the two different data points. So the one data point is the job, and the second data point is the hiring managers. So come in here, say bulk edit, paste the various company domains, and then what you can do from there, if you know that you're going to be doing email, you can say email status validated. If you're only going to be doing LinkedIn, you can leave this off. In terms of location, we're always recruiting in the United States and we're always working with clients in the United States, so I would set that to that. But if you're in another country, select another country like United Kingdom or wherever you are, Germany. Set that. You can leave seniority level and functionality level for now. Job title is usually good enough. In terms of number of leads, it's up to you, but usually saying 100 or 1,000 is good. And then everything else you can leave because you've already pre-validated it before. But if you want to be safe, you could again define company size here. And then after that, you can say save and start. Now, what this is going to look like again in the output tab is you're going to see the prospects. So let's look at the input for this one. This one was for Director of Mechanical Engineering, Director of Engineering, Engineering Manager. And the output that we got was all of these different hiring managers and different contact details. So we have sometimes personal email, but we always have their LinkedIn. And a lot of the time we'll also have their work email, which is important. Again, what we're going to do from here is click export and save this as a CSV. Download that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import this into a new tab next to the jobs so that we can now start moving towards matching them up. So in this first tab, we have all the jobs, which should be qualified. And now we have all the hiring managers. Now what we need to do is figure out which hiring manager matches to which job. So we can then basically import all of that data into a sequencer so you can contact those people. And you can do this with VLOOKUPs and various fancy Excel formulas. If you are a whiz and you want to do that, basically what you would do is you'd use the company website and match up the different hiring managers. A much easier way to do this is simply to take this sheet as it is, which at this point will only be these two tabs, download that, give it to ChatGPT or give it to Claude and say, I want you to help me match up these jobs to these hiring managers based on the website company, based on the company domain. And what you're going to get is a sheet that looks like this, something like this, where you have all of the job information repeated, and that's important because then you can reference that job for that hiring manager, followed by all of the different hiring managers and their information. So you can see here, this job title was a industrial hygienist, senior principal engineer, and it's at this company. These are all the hiring managers that we got for this company, Northrop Grumman. And you can see the first names and you can see the last names and the job title and the LinkedIn and the email. So if you wanted at this point, you could literally take this list, go to all these people on LinkedIn and message them and ask them how the search is going for their principal engineer and pitch them a real candidate. But the problem with this is it takes a lot of time, it's manual, and the whole point of this video and the whole point of this resource is to make things smoother for you and so that you have your time back. So what we're going to do is take this sheet, we're going to download this, and we're going to import this into another tool called Instantly. So at this point in the guide, we are now basically down here, and now it's time to start contacting the hiring managers. This is a template that you can use if you want to start reaching out to people via LinkedIn. And the basic principle of this template is to say, focus on pitching a real candidate. If you lead with value, you're going to have a much better chance of a hiring manager actually responding to you positively because they are busy and they just want the solution. Yes, obviously there's the risk, well, maybe they'll take your candidate, but realistically, I've never had that happen. And most of the time people will say, yes, sure, send me their resume, and then you open up a conversation. So this is the basic principle. Use this template, obviously change as you like, but the idea is pitch a real rockstar candidate and then use different pitch points that match up to their job description based on the experience, the tech stack, whatever it is. So now what we're going to do is use a basic cold email system, and this is where I lose most people. It is not as complicated as it seems. Basically, all we're going to do is use this tool. It's going to warm up everything for you, and you're going to import that data that we have from the sheet into the tool. So to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to go to instantly.ai and go and create an account. It's very simple, takes 5 minutes, and you will need the growth tier. So unfortunately, this is not a free tool, but it definitely has, I think it's like $46 a month, and just the growth tier is fine. Let's just look, there we go, growth is $47 a month. So $47 a month, and then you'll need to buy some domains, but basically it's a relatively inexpensive way to get this started, and it's very simple. So come here, sign up for the growth plan, and then what we're going to do is we're going to buy you some burner emails to send from. We never want to use your real email or your real company domain. For example, my company domain is recruiter.com and recruiter.ai. We never want to use those real domains because then our sender reputation is going to get burned. What we want to use is say use recruiter or get recruiter or staffing recruiter or whatever your name is. We're going to use a burner domain. So what we're going to do from within your Instantly dashboard, we're going to go into email accounts, and what you can do is click add new and then say done for you email setup. What this means is that Instantly is going to automatically warm up your emails for you so that you don't have to schlep and figure out all the infrastructure behind the scenes. Click on Gmail and G Suite, and what you're going to do in this step is type in your real domain. So let's say in my case, my real domain is recruiter.com. And you know what, for today we'll actually use recruiter.ai. Okay, so what we're going to do is you've got trade recruiter, cool recruiter, ultra recruiter, auto recruiter, lab recruiter. In my experience, this doesn't matter that much, especially when you're at scale. Try and get something that sounds relatively good, and the shorter the better. So in this case, let's say that we're going to use tech recruiter. So you want at least one of these. Now you can see this is $15, but this is worth it because this enables you to win your time back. Once you've done that, you can obviously do as many as you want, but it's going to cost you whatever you can afford. Select that, say next. Now what we're going to do is we're going to input the forwarding domain. The forwarding domain is what the URL will link to if someone clicks on the try recruiter or recruiter techrecruiter.com. So if someone visits techrecruiter.com, it's going to forward to my real domain. So let's put that in and put your sender name as your first name and last name. And for the email, put in your first name. You can also put in your last name, but the important thing is to make sure that you have at least 5 different sending accounts. Each sending account has about 30 emails per day. This gives you around 1,050, like capacity to reach 1,050 hiring managers per week. Once you've done that, you can say place order. I'm not going to do it because we already have a bunch of these, but place your order. And then what this is going to do is going to start warming up emails for you. So if you go back into your email accounts and you click on warm up active, you will see all your various email accounts warming up. What you need to do is you need to wait, unfortunately, about 3 weeks for all the warming emails to be sent so that this email is ready to go. It's usually around 80 warm-up emails. So when this is about 80 warm-up emails, or it's been around 3 weeks, then you know that it's ready to send and you can start using these emails. Keep an eye on this because as you keep sending more emails, your sender reputation will get diminished. People will put you in spam. And so you will need to top up and buy more emails. It's the exact same process. You go into emails, you click on new, you add G Suite, and you basically just buy more. And that's all it is. You're just keeping the wheel going. So now that we have the basic infrastructure set up, let's pretend like we fast forward 3 weeks. In the meantime, I would recommend doing manual LinkedIn outreach. So take the list, go to these hiring managers on LinkedIn and start connecting with them and start pitching and see what resonates, see what messaging, refine your messaging. After the 3 weeks, you can then take this information and you can also pitch to these hiring managers via email. So now what we're going to do, let's go into Instantly and we're now going to create a campaign. So if you click on this button here, you can see that at scale, you can have many hundreds of campaigns. We're going to call this campaign, we're just going to say this is like a test as an example. And what you can do now is import the leads. So what you do, you would come into the sheet, you would basically download this as a CSV. So just as an example, let's say we're going to download this, and let me just export this, download as a CSV. And what we're going to do is we're going to import this instantly. I'm going to go here, CSV, upload, and we go to downloads, and that is the one. And now what you want to do is match up all the different job and data types so that you can use this in the email. So job title is fine, company name, that's correct, company website, up to you if you want it. You can say custom variable, location, normally you don't really need this. Employment type, if you want to reference this in the email, you can import it as a custom variable, but you don't necessarily need this. Seniority level, also don't necessarily need that. This could be useful if you want to keep this for later. You can import things and you don't have to use them in the email itself. And what's very important is to always import the company website and the hiring manager's LinkedIn so that when someone replies to you via email, you can go to their LinkedIn and see who replied. Salary, up to you. Same with job functions, same with domain. Hiring manager first name and last name is always important. In the future, what you can do in your Google Sheet is normalize the hiring manager first name and last name in case someone has something like Kevin Q or Kevin Jr. or something like that. And then hiring manager job title, also up to you. Hiring manager LinkedIn, very important, and hiring manager email. Once you've done that, select all three of these just to check for duplicates and say verify leads. This is going to verify that the emails are correct and working. Okay, now what we have is we have all of the leads in the sheet. Just give this a second and you'll see that it's going to basically list them for us, and it's going to, okay, I've already imported this exact list, that's why it's not showing them, but you will see all your leads in this exact page, and you'll be able to basically see the email sending provider that they use. What we're going to do now is define the email that you're going to send. So in this case, we're going to send 3 emails. You can set the subject to whatever you want. The important information that you need to know is if you click on the 2 brackets keys, you will see all your variables. And so the reason this is important is because now you can say, hi first name, how is the search for your job title going, basically, if you have that variable or whatever it is you need, and then you can build out your email. When you want to add another email, click add step. I'd normally recommend waiting at least another 2 or 3 days before you send the next email. Again, you can send another one, send another 3 days. And the other important thing to note here is you want to always include an unsubscribe link. So the way to do that, at the bottom here, let's say that you put in your account signature. So this is going to say something like, hi first name, how's the search going for your blah, 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 regards Harrison. At the bottom of this, what you want to do is come here to say add more rich, and click this little insert unsubscribe link. This is going to save you a lot of pain because now people can easily unsubscribe, and I'm going to show you another way that you can also do that shortly. Again, in this email, unfortunately, you have to do it for all of them. It's a little bit annoying. Just say insert unsubscribe, and for the third email too, insert same concept in the third email, and here, there we go. So now we have the unsubscribe link in all the emails. And again, if you say the subject, for example, let's say the subject is test, and you say save. If you leave this blank, it's going to use the exact same subject as the first email in the second and third emails so that it looks identical. You can, of course, insert variables here if you want, but that is up to you. And if you're not seeing any variables, just go into the email, do that, copy this, put that in there, and then you'll basically be able to see it in the subject line. Okay, now we're almost done. At this point, I'm assuming that you've imported your leads, you have all the copy built out. One quick little tip I'll show you is you want to use this thing called random. And what this will do is basically it'll allow you to stay out of spam by giving you different variations of the same copy. So let's pretend that you had 3 variables like, hey, hi, how's it going? What this will do is this will pick one of them. So this time it said C, now it said B, now it said B again, and maybe it'll say A at some point. But basically you can use to say things like hi, hey, you know, get down, what's up? I don't know, but something like that. And you can use that for all your different variables to vary them, and that keeps you out of spam because all your emails will be slightly different. From there, what we're going to do is you can define your schedule. It's up to you how you want to send it. but normally what works best is Monday to Friday. You can try going on the weekends. You might get higher open rates, but you might also piss people off because they don't want to be bothered on the weekend. And once you've done that, click save. And then the important thing here is you need to now go and select your warmed up emails. So let's say Android Build Code Collective was one of the emails that you bought. Go and select all 5 of your emails until you have them all selected. And then you want to copy these settings. So you want to have this on, the daily limit. This is going to basically take the number of emails that you've got and multiply it by 30. I'll show you how to set this. Leave these off. When we want to enable that, we want to disable open tracking because that can affect your deliverability. And then click on advanced. And what we want to go and do here is select this as the reply rate. We want to match the ESPs. So click this. And what you can do here is you can say Google, send Google. This is basically going to boost your deliverability. If you have Microsoft emails, you can say that too. You can say Microsoft, send Microsoft. And in the future, if you want to send more capacity, you can basically say all send all or Google send all. And this basically means that if someone is with Google, you're going to send it with a Google address so that you have a higher chance of getting in the inbox. The other important thing that you need to click is the insert unsubscribe link header. What this does is inserts a small unsubscribe button at the top of your email. If you go into Gmail, you'll see it. It basically allows someone to easily unsubscribe. Then you can also BCC yourself if you want, up to you. If you have a HubSpot and you want to send replies to a HubSpot or something like that, you can put that in there. Once that's done, say save. And then once you're ready to go, click launch. What I recommend doing before you do that is to go into your emails, have a preview of what they look like and send an email to yourself so you can see what this looks like on mobile, importantly. And you can just look at the way it looks. Like if the lines are very long and then jagged, there's little things that you can pick up that sometimes just catch your eye when you actually look at it as a real email. And in that, you would just select the email there. Basically, that is all you need to know at this point to go from 0 and getting the different jobs to getting all of the data to then getting all the company domains, putting that into Leads Finder to get the hiring managers, adding those two together so you have one sheet with all the jobs and then all the hiring managers, and then putting that into a sequencer like Instantly with all your leads so that you can then send this. And then basically to repeat this process, go back into your console every single day. You will see in your schedules, the actor will have run. It'll give you new information. So for example, which one was it? If we go to the LinkedIn job scraper, this will have a new run in the morning. You can come here, you can see the results. Exact same story. Download, click export, import into a new sheet, and then do the same thing for hiring managers, matches jobs, import it instantly, etc. And then you can expand into other URLs. Obviously, I realize that this is still a lot of work to do. And so if you'd like to get help with this or try a more effective and more complex system, I'd welcome to speak with you, and we will be launching our platform soon at recruiter.ai. Thank you for your time.